Back at the HANGTOWN Motocross Classic, we have completed our first moto of the day, which was the 250 class. We're going to transition into the big bikes of the 450 division. Of course, it's been a long time since we started a championship in the 450s without this guy on the gate at the opener. That's Ryan Dungey, one of the most consistent riders ever, a four-time motocross champ, a four-time supercross champ, and won the 450 title as recently as 2015. And after winning a third straight Supercross title just 2 weeks ago, we thought we'd see him out here in Lucas Oil Pro Motocross this summer. He has instead decided to call it a career, and you, Grant Langston, got a chance to ask him about that as he announced his retirement on Tuesday.
Ryan, the question is, why retire now? Why before the start of the Nationals?
I just felt like it was time. You know, it was the hardest decision I've ever had to make. And, you know, with racing, you come into it, you don't know, you want to come and be a pro, but you don't know when enough's enough, you know. And I started feeling those signs and symptoms, and I felt like, you know, we've had a great run. We've done a lot of great things, and mentally, it was just kind of getting hard for me. I didn't want to put myself back out there in a position, because things happen fast, you know, and we got to be there on the starting gate, and the just truth is I wouldn't be. So with that being said, you know, I felt like now was the best time to retire, and it's good to go out. I told myself, win or lose this championship, this is it. And it was nice to get the championship, but it's a tough day, but I'm excited for what's next.
8 years in the premier class, 7 national championships, 4 Supercross, 3 motocross. You've accomplished almost everything. Any regrets?
I have no regrets. You know, I feel like coming into my career, and I felt like I always gave it 100%. I was always true to myself, and I tried to fulfill all the obligations that I was told to. And, you know, I tried to be the best I could be on the track and off the track, you know, for the fans too, you know, and the people within the pits and my team and the whole crew. So I'm no regrets at all. I went as hard as I could, as long as I could. You know, I'd rather have like short and sweet and did everything I could than long and dragged it out and not happy with myself, you know. But I'm happy with it, with everything and my effort, and you know, we did more than I could have ever dreamed of or imagined. You know, I was hoping just to be a professional supercross motocross racer. That was enough. And but it's been the dream come true.
Oh, and that is Dungey down!
Dungey is down on the first lap, and we do not see that very often.
How do you want the fans to remember Ryan Dungey?
You know, for me, when I first turned pro, I want to be remembered as a gnarly guy, winning races and championships, and those were good. But more importantly, what I always tried my best to off the track was be good to the fans. You know, I knew what it was like when riders didn't give me the time of day, and granted, maybe there's some fans I upset along the way, but I can't make everybody happy. But I've always tried my best to be there to help and encourage the kids or whoever that is off the track, you know, to be that good role model, a good ambassador, like I was saying, and just use that experience to benefit other people, you know. I mean, that's what life's about, you know. And if I learned all this stuff, all this knowledge and all this experience, but I just kept it to myself, well what's the point of it all? I want to pass it on to the next generation and whoever that may be, but just to be remembered as a good guy who, with integrity and hard work, and was kind and took the time. After some time off, we'll reevaluate things, see where we're at, see what opportunities come about. You know, I want to I don't want to rush into anything, and I don't have to, and I just want to be able to take the time to do something I love. I don't want to chase after the money. I want to do something I love and enjoy, just like racing.
Well, Ryan, from all of us, thank you for everything. We've enjoyed it, and may the future bring great things.
Thank you.
A devastating injury to Ken Roczen and the sudden retirement of Ryan Dungey has left Kawasaki's Eli Tomac as the favorite for the 450 class title. Last year's 250 champion, Yamaha's Cooper Webb, is looking to make history in his debut season in the premier class.
And that will be enough to wrap up the 2016 Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship.
These riders lead the field to the starting gate when MAVTV's coverage of the Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship returns to HANGTOWN.
Back at HANGTOWN, getting ready for the first 450 class moto of the season. Lucas Oil Pro Motocross getting underway for 2017 here at HANGTOWN outside of Sacramento, California. The riders are surveying the track with their sighting lap, and we can do the same with our MX versus ATV track map. Show you exactly what it's like to ride here at HANGTOWN.
Well, we're going to pick it up here right after the start. This comes into the first tight section. Then you make the right-hander up the hill to the big Red Bull step up. Second, third, maybe in fourth gear as these guys land on the binders again. Sharp left-hander, jump down the hill. This section here, the braking bumps get bigger and bigger, and it's getting tougher and tougher. Do this step down and then up the hill through the rollers. Tricky section. I'm sure the guys will find a way through there. Turn left, step back down. Then some more twisty windings as we have a look from our onboard with the Garmin course preview. Onboard with Weston Pike from practice a little bit earlier. See the mile an hour down the bottom left. This device is pretty trick. Track map on the right so you can see where he is on track, as well as recording the whole thing. This is a jump we've talked about, the Fly 150. See, these guys are doubling the triple. Are they going to pull the trigger in this first motor? Has it dried out enough? Past the TV compound, over the tabletop that they scrub, and then this long right-hander. Look at all the ruts and lines. And it's also changed since then.
Yeah, probably just gotten rougher from there. We'll see how Weston Pike, who you're on board with now, and the rest of the 450 field fares. Moto 1 coming up next. Riders have completed their sighting lap here at Hangtown. They're ready to go racing. And we'll give you our Lucas Oil upcoming TV schedule here so you know exactly how to follow us here in this championship. These motos are here on MAV TV. Switch over to NBCSN as soon as they're over for the second set of motos today. And we'll figure out our overall winners. And we have a highlight show coming up midweek. And then Glen Helen round 2 next Saturday, 4 Eastern on NBCSN. And second motos will continue with a little break in between. And also NBC Sports Gold. That's the new app where you can watch every single moto and all our practice sessions every weekend. So check that out as well. Eli Tomac, can somebody take him down today here at Hangtown? We'll find out next. Whether you're a student, an engineer, or a machinist, Titans of CNC will teach you everything you need to know about CNC machining. This season is dedicated to all the builders as Titan lifts up manufacturing and education, causing true job growth on camera and throughout the show. Monday, 9 Eastern and Pacific on MAV TV. Let's go to Georgia Lindsay, a very special guest.
I know you guys, I'm sure, are excited to see the one, the only, the champion that is Ken Roczen. Ken, it's so great to have you here for the first round. Unfortunately not racing, but I know all your friends, family, and your fans at home. Give us an update. How are you doing?
Yeah, obviously it could be a lot worse, so I'm happy to be here, walking on 2 legs, and I feel great. I've been working out, I've been eating good, and I'm positive I'll be back next year. You can put money on that, and I'll be back winning and winning championships especially. But I'm happy to see all the fans. It's been a while since I've been at the race in general, but coming here as a champion and not racing is definitely tough. I think that's riders' torture to just watch everybody race and stuff. But you know, it comes with it. I love hanging out with the team and see all the fans. You know, I'm here for them and putting a smile on all these people. So it's awesome, and I'm in good spirits, and I'll be back.
It's great attitude. Thank you so much. Great to have you here, Kenny.
Well, that's the question everybody wants answered. Will he be back? He's saying put money on that he will be back. Geez, about a dozen surgeries he's had to endure on his wrist, arm, and elbow. So we hope to see Kenny back here in 2018. Hey, we have our FMF Privateer Power Award. That goes to our fastest privateer in qualifying, the Kiwi, Cody Cooper. We're ready to go racing.
That all happened quick.
And it looks like one of the Hondas, actually that's Ken Roczen's bike out front, and the man on it, the 48, Christian Craig, who got the call up from the Geico Honda 250 team to ride in the absence of Roczen, and he puts that Honda right up front.
Cody Cooper off track, barely, but didn't gain an advantage, so no problem. Muska now at the inside of Webb. So now the question comes in, where is Tomac? There he is, so inside the top 10.
Absolutely, so a nice little setup here with Craig out front, then Webb and Muscat battling second and third, Cody Cooper in there. He races full-time in his native New Zealand, but he did race the full series with us in the United States a couple of years ago, so he's pretty experienced out here at Hangtown and did show up for this race last year. So Cody Cooper, no slouch. But right now we're watching Craig on the red machine trying to get away the orange. 25, a Muscat in second, and then Cooper Webb in third of the number 2.
And you guys don't look over your shoulder because the number 3 has just dissected about 4 riders so quickly, moves himself in the 4th. Eli Tomac, we said his pace is really good around this track, and once again today in qualifying he showed that and already puts himself in 4th place, challenging for 3rd.
Yeah, all over Webb right now. Webb, first ever 450 motocross race here in the United States. Did get to ride a 450 in Supercross this year and twice rode a 450 in Europe as part of Team USA's Motocross of Nations effort. But it's a little different when you're doing it out here. Let's see what he can do. Last year's 250 national champ Webb, but Tomac on that number 3, closing up in a hurry.
Still first lap, riders getting used to the track. A little bit drier for the 450s. Oh, Tomac's bike swapped a little sideways through there, but we know Eli's style. He's strong. He bulldogs that machine, puts it where he wants it, and if it steps out of line, he puts it back in its place.
And his teammate Josh Grant on the 33 has come up next. He is in 5th. Christian Craig leads. How about the KTM keys to the moto?
Yeah, we had a quick start there, but obviously get a good start. That's important. All these guys have. You got to get the opening round jitters out of the way. I think most of these guys will figure that out. They're seasoned veterans, and then, of course, race rhythm. I think that's going to be the big key for these guys right now. They've done a lot of testing. They're all fast. Cooper does a smart job, shuts the door there. Tomac trying to square him up. But race rhythm is going to be crucial. It's very... All these guys are fast. It's about just getting that rhythm and getting a little stronger as the motor goes on, finding your lines. Cooper Webb does not want Eli Tomac to get around him this early in the race.
Well, I've always said that about Webb. Even though he's a rookie here, even in the 250 days, he rode like a veteran, and he's making that Yamaha very wide right now and making it awfully hard for Tomac to get him. Did Tomac finally make it happen? He did.
Tomac probably one of the best in the business of just going the long way around. In any situation, just carrying a ton of momentum. Oh, comes up a little bit short on that step up. A lot of times these guys just try and almost clip the edge, as we call it, to slow him down. And he's taking that very inside line at the top of the hill, staying out of the deep ruts. So Tomac around this track, he knows how to get around here. He's won here many a time, and when I say he's won, he's dominated. And he's got great lines at the moment and a lot of momentum.
And a lot of fans cheering as well. We have a battle for the lead starting to brew. Christian Craig on the 48. Can he hold off Musquin on the 25? So Craig raced 450s in this series years ago, and then actually after a series of injuries chose to retire. And then after being off for about a year and a half, came back with the Geico Honda team as a 250 rider. Honda needed someone to ride Roczen's bike this summer though, and they gave Craig the call up. How long can he hold on?
Craig did very well on the 450. I think the way his style is.
Oh no! Craig is down. Well, the style, that's not what he wanted there. Luckily not hurt. That was a slow speed crash. But he does hand the lead over to Musquin.
And we said it before, if you watched the 250 race earlier, a lot of riders getting a little squirrely all over the place. This track, very tricky. You heard the race winner, Zach Osborne, say, it's already really rough. And that's first of 4 motos, because we have the 2 classes, of course. So I cannot imagine what it's going to look like by the end of the day. Musquin out front, Tomac second.
And Webb trying to keep Tomac in sight, and Tomac's teammate Josh Grant not too far back on the other Monster Energy Kawasaki. So right now, 2 of the favorites coming into this championship. Musquin in the lead, Tomac in second. It's the battle everyone has been waiting for. Who will take control of the 450 class now that last year's champion Ken Roczen is out? Could be one of these 2. Battle is on, and Eli Tomac is just able to squeeze past the 25 of Marvin Musquin. Musquin did everything he could to keep that KTM in front, blocking a couple of the inside lines. But Tomac finally got his opening. And I hate to say it, but this is what everyone feared. Eli Tomac was so fast in Supercross this year. Could he bring that form to Motocross? He has so far.
Yeah. He sure has. He's shown us before the incredible speed this guy can show us outdoors. And he was working on Musquin. Musquin didn't roll over. It took several corners, back and forth, swapping lines. But look, now that he's got by, already starting to stretch it out. And the crowd here at Hangtown, they appreciate the performance that he's putting on once again. He's probably got a pretty good fan base up here after some of his very memorable rides.
Yeah, won this race 2 years ago by over a minute, which is an historic level of gap. But even bigger than that was 2010, his first ever pro race at this track, and he won. And I don't mean the first pro race he ever had at Hangtown. That was his first pro race anywhere, and he won it. And this track just seems to work for Tomac, and it's working right now. Let's go back to give you our motosport.com whole shot replay and show you how Musquin was able to grab their early lead battling it out with Christian Craig.
Yeah, you see gate dropping here, focusing on
121 at Cody Cooper, but you're going to see the Honda shoot through the middle of Craig.
almost, I think, maybe the exact same starting gate as Cianciarulo from the first moto. It was about 8 gates in from the what we call the doghouse, or the center box. Doghouse is what I think it looks like anyway. And so probably the straightest line to the first turn. Also gave him a great angle.
So Tomac getting away from Musquin. Cooper Webb still a solid third here, but we're going to have a battle. Josh Grant in fourth, closing in on Webb. So that might be your best fight on the track. Cole Seeley running well in fifth. Another one of the Honda HRC entries. And Cody Cooper hanging tough, the veteran out of New Zealand, in sixth. Let's focus in on Cooper Webb. Had a rough Supercross season, had a crash. Really wasn't his fault, was tangled with another rider and missed a couple of weeks of racing with a shoulder injury. So at that point, Supercross season, as far as championship points were concerned, pretty much out of reach for him. So did a lot of extra work in the preseason preparing for motocross, where most of these riders really only got the focus on this starting last week. So let's see if it pays off for Cooper.
Well, a lot of the guys during Supercross will slowly start doing a little more outdoor testing or riding. But I think, like you said, for Cooper, his sort of focus had changed immediately, where it was, all right, motocross is more of a priority, and Supercross, you know, we're just going to finish it out. I'm not saying they don't care or put the effort in. There's only a certain amount of time that these guys can spend on a bike in a week. So you've got to use your time wisely.
And I talked to his mechanic, Eric Gass, earlier today. I said, what do you think? Does it, after practice, has it paid off that extra time, or did you get out on the racetrack and say, oh, everything we learned, this track's totally different? I said, no, it seems to be working. They're pretty confident. But remember, it is his first 450 motocross race here in the U.S., so third place not too bad right now, although he's going to have to deal with Grant before long. Actually, not before long. Right now, he's going to have to deal with him.
Josh Grant, someone that I've said many a time, when he's healthy and on a good bike and feeling fit and confident, he's as good as just about anyone out there. We've seen Josh Grant over the years show us some pretty incredible rides, more so at Glen Helen, which we go to next week. So good ride here this week should funnel him into that confidence category going into next week, and he has got that pressure on Cooper Webb. You've got to feel like it's a matter of time. Goes to the outside, Webb protects the inside. A lot of times riders just have a tendency to do that. Close the door. Grant almost runs to the back. Will he square him up? Webb keeps shutting the door here, but Grant gets a drive on the inside.
Whoa! And that's kind of a progressive banking in that corner. There wasn't much of a berm on the inside for Grant. Didn't matter. Still was able to find the corner speed to get by Webb, who, as you were alluding to, was trying to put Grant into the bad spot of the racetrack, but the 33 would not be denied.
Well, if you're Monster Energy Kawasaki right now, you've got to have a big smile on your face. Both your riders in the top three. Tomac leading, Grant in third. Dream start for those guys.
Absolutely. And we'll see if Grant can maybe make some tracks up to Musquin. Attempt to make it a Cali 1-2. There's Webb. And next is Seeley. So will Seeley be able to get in on this and maybe battle Webb for fourth? And a rider to watch behind him, Blake Baggett, I saw about 10th early, has now risen up to 6th. So you might want to watch Baggett as well. They're all trying to get a feel for it in the opening laps of the 2017 motocross campaign. Seeley bouncing around and trying to put that Honda in the rut.
Yeah, bouncing around, all right. Imagine when Moto 2 comes around. I almost feel like the way this track is at the moment, it's so choppy and rough that it actually might become, I know this sounds crazy, but a better rough in Moto 2, meaning the bumps and ruts start forming, so it's more predictable. And guys start figuring out how to skip this, skim that, wheel tap this, avoid that, hop over this, cross lines here. So a lot goes into it, thinking, line selection. Also, it's dried out a fair bit, so you know the track crew's going to have to throw down a fair amount of water. As it looks like Seeley creeping up on that rear wheel of Cooper Webb. First race on that bike for Webb on the new factory Yamaha 450, and I'm wondering if maybe just struggling a little bit with being a little bit tight. That can happen sometimes. When you get out front, you push it hard real quick, you're battling, and then someone passes you and it takes the wind out of your sails a little bit, and then it's almost hard to get back into that attack mode. You kind of start becoming a little more defensive and conservative.
Well, to go back to Webb at the beginning of the year in Supercross, the first 2 races were a big struggle. He actually got lapped at the second round, and he was alluding to the fact that he almost got a little bit of stage fright dealing with some of these established 450 names in those first 2 races, and then he immediately improved massively and was battling for podiums for a few weeks. So he could turn the corner pretty quick.
Well, one of the things I know with speaking to him and his family was this Yamaha, we talked about, it's got incredible torque and bottom end. And he basically said, man, the bike was so fast, I think I just didn't realize that I was not scared of the bike, but I wasn't riding the bike, it was riding me. So they smoothed the power out a little bit, made it a little more linear. And so for him, he felt it was a little more rideable, because the thing is, if you got a ton of power and you crack the throttle, all the weight wants to transfer to the rear wheel. So now the front end's light and the rear's squatted. And then if you chop the throttle, then the weight transfers forward. So you know, makes the bike feel like it doesn't handle as well if it's extremely fast.
And these 450s certainly are extremely fast if you don't have it quite right. And Seeley is another rider who said the same type of thing. He likes to run at a low RPM, and they got to set the bike up for that. Seeley's putting Webb under attack right now. This is a battle for 4th place with Grant, Musquin, and Tomac up ahead. See what Seeley can do, trying to find some insides on Webb. Now he's on the outside heading into this corner.
Webb doing the smart things though. He's not really trying to block, not holding anyone up, but riding smart, taking slightly defensive lines, but also taking his own lines. He probably figures, hey, you know, if Seeley's going to get by, he's going to get by. It's halfway through the race. There's still plenty of time to get by, and there's plenty of time to, Jason,
save 15% or more on your insurance. And Cooper Webb probably wishes he had some of that right now to try to hold on to 4th, but Seeley's going to get it. So you can call Geico, save some money within 15 minutes. And then by then the checker flag will be out. This moto will know who wins it. Seeley has taken the 4th place spot away from Cooper Webb.
Good news for Cooper Webb. There is a gap behind him as we have a look. Webb is now about 25 seconds off the lead, but, well, only 10 on second. Tomac just stretching it out. 15-second lead over Marvin Musquin. Josh Grant, he's in a comfortable 3rd, but not that far off Musquin. 4th is now Seeley. Webb got a sort of comfortable 5th because Baggett is almost 10 seconds behind him. But we know Blake Baggett, he's a second moto type guy, and he might pick that pace up. And if Cooper kind of keeps a similar pace, it might get interesting.
Yeah, might have a battle for 5th in our hands. Seeley now all alone in 4th. Now Seeley has been known primarily as a stronger Supercross rider than outdoors, but he has quietly improved his game year by year. And last year, the last 4 motos that he raced, he had 2 podiums, had 2 3rd-place finishes in the motos. Then unfortunately got hurt in a bizarre way. He actually leaned it over so far in a corner that he caught his pinky on the ground and broke it. I think he was a little embarrassed to say I got to skip races because of a broken pinky, but it was broken too bad to be able to hold on to the motorcycle.
He broke it pretty good, and yeah, as a former racer, I can tell you there's nothing worse than not being able to have the grip strength or operate the brake or clutch. Especially once or twice is one thing, but doing it throughout the day, throughout the motos consistently, it's tough.
So Seeley now back and healthy for outdoors this year. Did have a little leg injury a few weeks ago where he had to miss some of the Supercross races, but he told me it's not really a problem outdoors, more of a problem having to hit some of the big rhythms and seat bounce some of the jumps. But the ruts in the corners and the rough stuff, he wasn't afraid of it today, and he's ridden pretty well, bringing that number 14 up to 4th with Grant in 3rd. And now you can see Webb losing just a little bit of ground, but still has a nice gap over Baggett.
See his dad there on the right-hand side of the screen.
There's Baggett, yep.
Baggett in 6th. Having a good moto. Wasn't sure exactly where he was out of the gate, but he definitely has moved up a few positions. And as I call him now, the silent assassin, Brock Tickle. He's always the guy that's just behind the guy, but very consistent. Another good ride from him.
See if Baggett can try to make some ground on Webb right now. Gap's pretty big, about 9 seconds. He'd have to make up a bunch, and you can see the countdown clock upper right side of your screen. About 12 minutes and 2 laps to go. Baggett little bit of hype coming into this. Has always been primarily stronger in motocross than supercross, but his supercross season was good. So if he can improve on that, remember this is the guy that won a 250 outdoor championship a few years ago, and he did it over none other than Eli Tomac, who finished second that year in the points. So Baggett's the kind of guy that can get it done outdoors, but he is new to this team and new to this bike, and we'll see how they progress with it in motocross. He's on the Rocky Mountain WPS KTM team, and here comes Tickle on the RCH. Yoshimura Suzuki had a couple of podiums last year, then he went out with injury, and then a wrist injury that he's been dealing with as of late. And told me he's been on the bike for a couple of weeks now, though, so he doesn't think the wrist injury is going to be that bad.
Yeah, Brock's a grinder. He's a hard worker. He appreciates everything he's given. Behind him, his teammate on the RCH factory Suzuki, Justin Bogle. Bogle also another rider who's had a bit of an up and down couple seasons. Some injuries here, some free crashes there. But at least now, seems to be healthy. Decent start to the season. Top 10. Something to build off of, as we say.
The RCH team owned by Ricky Carmichael and Kerry Hart, and Carmichael is his farm, his training facility in Florida, now the home base for Justin Bogle. They moved him out to Florida. Tough supercross campaign for him, so they've changed the training program up. So now he's riding there in the Tallahassee, Florida area midweek, and we'll see how well Bogle does throughout the summer. He's 8th. Craig, despite the crash, the man
Right
who
there.
got the Moto Sport hole shot. Yeah, that was the spot, right?
Yeah, right in that corner there. Came in, got a little loose under the braking, little swap, tuck the front. Got up pretty quickly. Good ride.
And we can show you what happened to Craig earlier. Nice effort to get back into this in 9th place.
Yeah, watch this. He tries to come across and shut the door, and then watch the bike starts bouncing, then watch the front goes over the rut, then back into the rut, and different sort of look, but a little bit like a Ferrandis deal. Once the bikes hop and skip, where you got one wheel in one rut and one wheel out of the rut, it tends to dig into that soft lobe and then want to rebound and flick the other way.
And Cody Cooper going to round out the top 10. The New Zealander, team managed by Shane King, former world champ. He's got to hang out with him a little bit this weekend. These guys will be here this week and also next week. They'll be racing Glen Helen down in Southern California.
Say hi to all the Kiwi fans that are listening, and I'm sure a bunch of Australians as well. Some of my friends abroad. Great to see the international crowd.
And
how about this guy?
Martin Davalos, yeah, showing some real speed. Finally, Martin Davalos on a 450 outdoors told me he's been asking the team to try this for a couple of years now, and they finally gave him the green light. Told me they gave him Jason Anderson's suspension from the end of the year last year and said, have at it. Top 5 in practice in both of our qualifying sessions today. So Marty looking good in the 450. Next up will be Weston Pike on the 32, that yellow Suzuki. That's the Auto Trader Monster JGR machine. And is that Dean Wilson? Yes, on the 15 Rockstar Husky next.
Dean Wilson, he'd probably like to be a little further up in the pack. Probably coming back from a bad start as well. Dean Wilson, someone that I want to see get back to his form that we know he can be at from a few years ago, outdoor speed-wise. But Dino also another rider that's dealt with, man, knee injury after knee injury, and those ACLs and knee reconstruction, it's a big deal. Great to see him healthy. Said he feels good.
Wilson was involved, I'm hearing now. There was a big crash early. Wilson, his teammate Jason Anderson, who is now out of this race, was expected to be a title contender. Justin Barsha was also in it. Barsha has climbed up to 15th, Wilson 13th, but Jason Anderson out of this race from a crash early that also involved his teammate. Not exactly sure what happened there, but that's a big shakeup for Anderson to be out. There's Barsha coming through next. He and Wilson, old buddies from their 250 days. Certainly a lot of bar banging between those two. I think they've smoothed it out through the years as far as their relationship with each other. And then it's the speed. Fast Freddie Norin, who comes through next on that red Honda. We'll see if Barsha can try to close the gap on Wilson and his teammate Pike. Here's Barsha here, center of the screen on the 51.
Justin Barsha, another rider that needs a good outdoor season. Hopefully he can pick it up. get some results that I think the JGR team expect from him.
Now, as for Anderson, like I said, out of this one, tough break for him, and it probably had to hurt too. Look at that. That's blood dripping from the eye area of Anderson. Hope he's okay. Yes, Lucas Oil Pro Motocross is back. First Motos will be live all season here on MAV TV. That includes Glen Helen in San Bernardino, California, next Saturday afternoon. We'll be here. Lock us in. MAV TV, Motorsports Network. It'll start at 1 o'clock Pacific time next week. All right, here is Musquin at the top of the hill. Second place. So a solid run for him, but Tomac is just next level in this one. He came through these guys, he passed them, he's extended it now to 20 seconds. And they're gonna have to all play the long game. There's no doubt Tomac is fast, but it is a 24 Moto championship, and Tomac was certainly dominant to start the 2015 season, but he ended up crashing and did not win the title. Ryan Dungey was able to get it. Battle starting to brew here between several riders. It is Pike on the yellow 32 going after the 30 of Davalos. The white number 30, then just behind them you've got Wilson and Barsha. Looks like Pike has made the pass on Davalos.
Yep, Barsha actually just ahead of these guys.
Oh, he's passed them both.
As well as Dean Wilson. At one point we saw all 4 of them in the screen. It's a great battling later in the motos. All for valuable points, obviously, and a little bit of pride, as well as that silver lining going in Moto 2, going, hey man, I was strong at the end. Let's carry that, let's ride that wave in the Moto 2.
Well, it's a couple of teammate battles too.
Someone went down.
Oh,
I think that
was that Davalos.
Yes, it may have been Davalos. Looked like a Rockstar Husqvarna in the background, so I think you're right. Martin Davalos, because there's Wilson.
Yep.
With Barsha behind him. Then we should see Pike, and then there's no Martin Davalos, so he did tuck the front end there.
Yeah, tough break for Davalos, not quite able to finish it off there after running pretty strong again in qualifying and then in the motos. And let's send it down to Georgia Lindsay with more on the 32, Weston Pike.
Yes, it's great to have Weston Pike here. He did suffer that injury. He's only actually been riding the bike for a couple of weeks. He said he's pretty sore, but his team manager, Jeremy Albrecht, said...
Sorry to cut you off, Georgia, but Eli Tomac has dumped it. He's on the ground. He's gotten it back up. And now the question is, how much ground has he given back to Musquin? He had a 20-second gap to play with.
And he must have got up quick.
Yeah, not much alarm there. We still don't see Musquin in the picture. And we, I think, have it here. What happened to him?
That is this is that tight section we're talking about. So it's going to be after this right-hander. He's been fast. Oh, he got it wrong coming. Oh, ho, ho, ho. That rut was so deep, he should have just gone over it. But
yeah,
that was one of the most unique crashes I've seen. Watch this. It was like a stoppie or an endo, but he kept the bike running. See, he puts his fingers on the clutch, keep that bike running, then whips it around. That's about as quickly as you can do it. Slip the clutch like a stock and get going.
Boom. He lost exactly half of the lead. A 20-second lead is now down to 9.8 seconds. So I'm not even sure if Musquin saw that. So no wind in the sails for the Frenchman, because he never quite got close enough to see Tomac. But that's what we're talking about. 24 motos. So many opportunities for things to go right or wrong.
I did see Marvin have a look over, so he probably went, oh, wow.
Yeah.
I've closed up. Something must have happened. Yeah. So that'll put a little prep in the step, or a little wind in the sails.
Okay. We'll see what Marvin can do here in the waning moments of this one. 2 minutes and 2 laps to go. Josh Grant still solid in third. Seeley got around Webb. He's fourth. Webb is fifth. And Baggett not able to make up any ground on Webb from there. So Baggett stuck in sixth, Tickle seventh. Bogle, Craig, Wilson round out your top 10. But Barsha right behind in 11th. So Musquin needed for Tomac to stall the motorcycle there and cost himself a few more seconds, and then we'd have a battle for the lead.
Well, the Kawasaki does not have an electric start, and when these machines get hot, four-strokes hate to start when they're hot, and it's really frustrating at times for a rider. KTM, they do have that luxury of the push-to-start button. Oh, Tomac still hard on the gas up the hill there. This guy rides with such intensity, whereas someone like Marvin, he's very methodical, puts that bike exactly where he wants it, to the inch. He'll stand a lot, he'll sit a lot, uses the a little more of the what we call the lower end power, the torque. Eli Tomac likes that thing pretty close to the rev limiter. Then there's Justin Barsha, who's in the rev limiter.
Yeah, rev limiter tester. Yeah, certainly different ways to ride these bikes, as illustrated by Musquin in second and Tomac up front. Tomac just hit the stuff hard.
That's where you almost feel like saying to Musquin right now, if you want to compete with Eli, you've got to basically learn to ride a little more out of control. Marvin is very methodical, technical. Eli, he just uses that body strength and he just puts that bike where he wants it. Doesn't matter how it gets there, he puts it there.
And Grant has put his Kawasaki up to third. Always a wild card. A couple of tracks a year that really work for him. He can run with anyone. You give this guy a start and you get the fans behind him. He gets fired up. He'll try to dig deep. And he did it a couple of years ago at Glen Helen, which will be our next track. Back then it was a season opener. And he grabbed the whole shot and went on to win the first moto of the season. And if you're Monster Energy Kawasaki, you can't ask for much better than this, first and a third. I guess you could ask for a first and a second, but this is very impressive. So yeah, his last moto win, that was 2014 at Glen Helen.
If he's riding that well right now, don't count him out next week.
Absolutely.
I'm saying Josh Grant, whole shot first moto, takes the win.
All right, saying it. I like it.
Maybe, who knows?
Yeah,
but
hey.
it's a good chance. I'm telling you, JG, he's wicked fast around there. And he looks the best I've seen in many years. He's had those ankles repaired, both of them actually. So he had to sit out for a while. He missed a lot of the outdoors last year because of that. But he said, man, I just really want to get healthy and I want to show people that I deserve a factory ride. I think some people say he didn't deserve to be on that team. And I always say you deserve what anyone's willing to give you. He's been given an opportunity. He's making the most of it right now. Good for him.
Well, so is Eli Tomac. He's making the most of it by running in the #1 spot. And he extended it back out about 2 seconds now from where he was when he crashed in that very corner 2 laps ago. So he was down to about a 9.8 second gap, and now he has an 11.8 second gap on Musquin. All the Kawasaki folks on the side of the track.
I'm not sure exactly, but that crash may have saved the whole field a lap because it was so close to the time running out when he was going to cross the finish line that I think that extra 11 seconds he lost, he just caught the 2-lap card. So some guys might have to give him a little attaboy off the race.
Yeah, I don't think they're disappointed.
Or someone that's coming through the pack might be like, oh man, I wish he would have gone over and got that extra lap in.
That's right. Lap rider there is Dakota Alex, who's riding on the Rocky Mountain KTM team. As a replacement for Davey Millsaps, who's out with injury right now, and Benny Bloss also. Here was Musquin. This is actually second, as Alex was a lap down. So this is your second place rider on the Red Bull KTM. Lone gunner over there, the team is supposed to be Musquin, Ryan Dungey, and Trey Kennard. We talked quite a bit about Dungey calling it a career just a few days ago, and Kennard is out with a broken collarbone that he suffered with some outdoor testing. So, as you were alluding to all weekend, a different type of scenario for Musquin to deal with now, being the guy that's expected to go out and win.
Yeah, he's basically a team leader, and I'm curious to see if Marvin can, what I would say, take that final step from being a race winner and a contender to the guy. And it's going to be tough against Eli Tomac, but you got to look at it at the big picture. We know Eli is really fast around this track, and for Marvin, he's only 13 seconds off the pace. Yeah, his lap-to-lap pace is a little bit off. White flag, one more lap. I think a lot of riders at this point happy to see that.
Yeah,
everyone's sort of settled and a little bit spread out in the, at least in the top, 8 riders, 9.
Yeah, so almost a mercy rule here with the flag coming out. And
what is the white flag?
Yeah, absolutely. So Tomac's outdoor season last year was okay. He did finish second, and he won 2 overalls, Southwick and Washougal, but he wasn't able to challenge Ken Roczen week to week. Now, obviously, Roczen is a great rider, so most of the credit goes there, but Tomac was in his first year with Kawasaki and was coming off devastating shoulder injuries. Injuries, yes, to both shoulders that he suffered in 2015. So I don't think he was quite able to get the full strength physically where he wanted it. And then as all the riders say, and I'm sure you've dealt with it yourself in your career, when you're not riding the bike at 100%, it's hard to set the bike up.
Yeah.
Now he's 100% physically, and we see how far he and the bike have come.
Yeah, even from the beginning of Supercross to a few rounds into it,
yes,
the turnaround was pretty remarkable. And then the other thing too that you can never take into consideration until you actually witness it is just the mental confidence. That feeling of, I'll put this bike where I want it. I'm going to be fast everywhere. I am the guy. He's shown that at times, and you know, it's probably too early to say, but Eli's probably biggest competition might come from Eli.
Yeah, got to survive this one first.
24 motos.
Yep.
It's a long series.
And that's the same situation for everyone. You got to get through it and avoid the big mistakes, because it can certainly be tough on a dirt bike if you go down. But no threats for Eli Tomac in this one. And just to pour a little salt on the wounds, remember, he started behind a lot of the riders that were expected to try to challenge him this summer, and he's able to catch and pass them. So that just makes this even more impressive. Although you always have to caution, don't get too excited after round one, and I'm sure the Tomac crew knows that just as well as anyone. But the first moto of the season, exactly the way he would have drawn it up. Eli Tomac wins the first moto of the year at Hangtown. And a solid performance, even with a brief tumble. He's going to win it by about 15 seconds over Muscan. And his teammate Josh Grant going to try to bring it home for third.
Back to Hangtown, and we are joined with our 450 Moto 1 winner, Eli Tomac. First off, huge congratulations, taking away the win on the first race of the year. How does that feel?
You know, this is the way we wanted to start it. Got off to I would say just an okay start. I was around top 5, had to make a few passes early on there. And just went to work, tried to find good lines, and found some for most of the race, and ended up making a mistake down that hill. You know, I almost saved it, and then it got away from me, and almost saved it again, and then it got me. But luckily was able to get up. Bike was straight, and just kept trucking along.
Now that was a kind of an awkward crash, wasn't it? It was kind of a slow in a turn, but that really explains how deep and crazy some of these ruts are.
Yeah, it can just get ahead of you before you know it. You know, that crash started 2 or 3 bumps before it actually happened. So got to watch out for it. It's going to be rougher in the second one. Thanks to the whole team, Monster Energy Kawasaki. Come back firing for Moto 2.
Congratulations, Eli Tomac, first Moto winner.
And we'll show you how he did it with our Lucas Oil race recap. This is that crash early on. Barsha was down, Anderson was down, Wilson was down. So a whole bunch of the contenders had trouble. There's Wilson getting back on his bike. Now, he and Barsha would get up to 10th and 11th, but Jason Anderson did not finish this. Watch the blood gushing from the left eye, so tough breaks for them. Then Tomac works his way up to second and gets the lead from Marvin Muscan.
Yeah, goes around the outside of the watches, just carries that momentum. I was talking about it earlier. He's the only one sort of accelerating through the braking bump, just hammers that corner. Typical Eli Tomac style, floats on the jump, and that will be the last they see of him. But right here, watch, there it goes. Saves it, has it, doesn't have it. That's why he said it started earlier, and we've seen that chain reaction. The bike starts swapping, and it's can you get it back or can't you? Gets it back, gets up. Tomac takes Moto 1.
All right, championship is up for grabs this year. First person to try to stake their claim to it is Tomac. As you look at the results here, his teammate Grant third, Sealy a solid fourth, Webb fifth, Baggett, Tickle, Bogle, Craig recovering from the crash ninth, and Dean Wilson off the track early with that crash, ends up 10th. Same thing for Barsha, ends up 11th around his teammate Pike, who will finish 12th, and we'll send it back to Georgia.
Yes, I can tell you what, it is heating up down here, but Marvin Muscan, you are on fire to the beginning of that moto. You know, good start for you, finishing off second. It's your 10th moto podium. Good start to the season for you. What's your thoughts going into Moto 2?
Not really happy. I mean, I was searching for lines. The track got really rough already after the first moto of 250s and compared to practice. So I don't know. I was, obviously trying my best, but I didn't know where to go. There's so many ruts and it's getting bumpy. So it's the first one. Now we learn from it and try to get better at second moto. I think the starts are not too bad. So that'll be the key, you know, to be on the podium today.
Congratulations, Marvin Muscan second in Moto 2. Moto 1.
And you see, started third. He had to work his way past Webb on the 2 and the 48 of Craig to get to the #1 spot. Got to lead a few laps, but Tomac eventually got around him. We're only halfway through the day, though, here at Hangtown. Switch over to NBCSN in just a few minutes, and we will start our second Motos 250 class and then 450 class. So 2 straight hours there on NBCSN. send it back to Georgia.
Josh Grant, congratulations on the Monster Energy Kawasaki on the podium. 2014, we saw you on a moto podium at Glen Helen. 2 years on, well, 3 years on now. What happened? What changed?
I mean, a lot. You know, I was able to go get my ankles fixed, which really helped. But yeah, I had a big crash out here on press day on that 150 jump. Couldn't quite make it, and feeling a little sore today. But you know what? Doing it for the vet guys. I'm freaking 30 years old racing these young 21-year-olds, and it's tough. But I'm having fun. It's good. You know, thanks to Monster Kawasaki for giving me the opportunity to come back out here, and I'm just looking to pick up where I left off a couple years ago.
Now you're saying you're 30 years old racing these younger guys. It's one of, it's a boiling hot race. You've just had a week off since Supercross. To come out here and do that, your physical shape must be on point right now.
Yeah, I mean, I get my training in during the week, changing diapers, filling bottles and all that good stuff. So it's been fun, but I'm just going to keep working, and that's all I can do.
Well, congratulations, Josh Grant taking third in Moto 1.
These guys grow up right in front of you. Remember, this race is where he made his pro debut in 2004, and he was the young buck, and now he's trying to hold the young guys off and keep his spot at the podium. Here is your upcoming schedule in the championship. Glen Helen, which will be Grant's home track in Southern California next weekend, and then Thunder Valley in Colorado, which is under snow right now.
Yeah,
I hope that melts in the next 2 weeks before we head to that track right outside of Denver, then a weekend off. High Point in Pennsylvania, Tennessee, outside of Bristol, the famous NASCAR facility, not too far from there. Redbud is our July 4th traditional celebration. On July 4th weekend, they're on the Michigan-Indiana state line. Southwick in Massachusetts, deep sand track there. Spring Creek in Minnesota, Washougal, Washington, which is near Portland, Oregon. Unadilla, Budds Creek, and Ironman in Indiana wrap it up. So, Grant, we've completed our first motos. And the big key in motocross is how much the track is going to change. Our 250 riders will come back up for a second moto, but the 450s tore it up while they were gone.
Yeah, exactly. And you look right now, you see they're just putting some water down the track, obviously to keep it, keep the dust down, keep the moisture in there. But look at these ruts. They're just, they're all over the place. They're not perfectly uniform. You can see one rut in the middle of the track looks pretty decent, but look behind that. There's dips and hollows. There's not even a consistency. So that's why we saw a lot of riders making a lot of mistakes. But as this track, with each and every lap, the riders, you see that still looks a little loose, but some of these sections, they'll slowly start packing in. Every time guys come by, it packs it in. I mean, these ruts, you can't even see the bottom of them. It's a shadow. So sometimes for these guys, it's also a bit of a guessing game.
Oh, that's a lot of a
downhill.
Yes,
that's a downhill where we saw Wilson and Anderson. We saw Anderson over the back of this berm and Wilson at the top of it. But it's pretty much come down the hill. A lot of guys will go, I'm going to the inside. They start swapping, and they're like, okay, I'll take the middle line. And then they miss that, and they go, I'll take the third line out.
And then sometimes there's a guy in that line, and that leads to all that chaos that happened there on the first lap.
That looks great. Chocolate cake right there. My favorite. Nice and smooth.
See the inspection process with some of the Dirt Diggers, which is the local motorcycle club that puts this event together. They call it Prairie City Off-Highway Vehicle Park, and the HANGTOWN Motocross track located within it. We're halfway through the day. Switch over to NBCSN. Join myself, Grant Langston, and Georgia Lindsay for more Lucas Oil Pro Motocross coming your way.